All right, hey kids, it's Mr. Cabley here. Happy New Year and welcome back to physics for the second semester. I'm sorry that I cannot be with you right now. I am at home with my wife and my new baby, but I'm going to be back on Monday, so I will see you then, all right? Let's get started right away because it's half class and I hope that you guys came ready to learn today. So, just a quick overview. Second semester of physics, we're going to be covering plenty of topics. There's going to be 2 more common assessments and spring break. So, the first new um, the first new unit is thermodynamics. So here we go, thermodynamics. So in thermodynamics, we're going to be talking about heat. We're going to be talking about specific heat capacity, latent heat capacity. We're going to be talking about entropy and the future end of the universe as predicted by physics, which you guys are going to love. So, today, the major takeaways from class that I want you guys to learn is that heat is a form of energy, and it can be added as either kinetic or potential energy, and that gases have the most energy and solids have the least energy, just as an overview. So, I know that there's not a space for this exactly in your notes, but I want you to find a place to take these notes down. All right? These things need to be written. So, heat is a form of energy, which means that it's measured in joules, of course. Temperature and heat are not the same thing. Just bear with me here. Temperature is the average kinetic energy of the molecules of a substance. Its units are Celsius, Kelvin, or Fahrenheit. Heat is energy that can be added to or removed from molecules of a substance, and its units are joules. So, what are the units of heat? Joules. What are the units of temperature? Celsius, Kelvin, or Fahrenheit. Okay, increasing temperature is increasing the kinetic energy of molecules. Why? Because the temperature is the average kinetic energy of the molecule. So if you increase the temperature, you are increasing the kinetic energy of the molecules. What does that mean? It means that the molecules of hot water have more kinetic energy than those of cool water. Basically, they are jiggling around more if they're hot, and they're jiggling around less if they're cool. So the phases of matter. In order from low energy to high energy, solid, liquid, gas. So which one has the most energy? Gas. Which one has the least energy? Solid. All right, so let's talk about solid, liquid, and gas in a form that you guys already are pretty much aware of. So solid, water is ice, and it exists anywhere below 0 degrees Celsius. Water can exist as water vapor anywhere above 100 degrees Celsius. So in between, you have liquid in between 100 degrees and 0 degrees. You see that the molecules of the ice are kind of stuck and fixed, whereas the molecules of the water can move around and jiggle, and the molecules of the gas are free to just move around. So to make a long story short, you can see that the gases have more energy because the molecules are moving around a lot more. So, when you are adding heat, you know that you're adding energy. But you are not always adding the same type of energy. So, if you are adding heat and the temperature of an object is increasing, you're increasing temperature, you're increasing the kinetic energy of the molecules. If you are adding heat and the temperature is not increasing, but instead you are changing the phase, meaning from solid to liquid to gas, you are not increasing the kinetic energy, you are actually increasing the potential energy of the molecules. So, changing phase adds or removes potential energy. What does that mean? Water vapor molecules at 100 degrees Celsius have more potential energy than liquid water molecules at 100 degrees Celsius. Because at 100 degrees Celsius, you could have either liquid water or water vapor, which is a gas. The gas molecules are all floating around, whereas the liquid molecules are kind of settled in their own little place. And you can tell that the gas molecules have more potential energy than the liquid molecules. So, going from here to here, even though they're both at 100 degrees Celsius, so the same kinetic energy, you're adding potential energy. So let's watch a little clip that I made in which I'm boiling some water. In the first part, you're going to see that the temperature of the water increases. That's kinetic energy being added. But in the second part of the video, which, I mean, there's no really clear difference between the first part and the second part, it's just later on in the video, the temperature will stay constant at approximately 100 degrees Celsius, but the water will change into vapor, meaning the water will be boiling. And the temperature of the water vapor coming off of that water is 100 degrees Celsius too. What does that mean? When you're in the boiling phase, it's potential energy that's being added. When you're in the heating phase, the heating up phase I should say, both of these are heating. When you're in the heating up phase, you're adding kinetic energy. So let's look at that little clip. Alright, so kids, I'm here in my kitchen and I am going to turn on the burner on this pot of water. Oops. So, right now, the temperature is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, but I want you to look at the Celsius right here. On the Celsius scale, it's about 23, headed up toward 25, and we're going to check on it in just a second. Think about it. How high do you think that the temperature of this water will get? Okay, well, it's been a couple minutes now, and I'm going to check the temperature here. Woo, give it a little swirl to mix it up. Looks like it has gotten up to 80 degrees Celsius, about 83 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to have to turn down the heat on this because it is melting the thermometer. But it should still get hotter and hotter and hotter. Alright, so this water has been boiling for several minutes now. And actually, maybe you can't tell, but I can see that there's actually less water in here than I started with because so much of it has boiled off. So let's look at the temperature. Has the temperature gone up as it's been left on? Nope, it's still at the same place that it was a couple minutes ago. Okay, still about 100 degrees on there. Several minutes later. Alright, so what I hope you learned from that little amazing series of clips watching me boil water is that when you're increasing the water's temperature, you are adding kinetic energy and it is heating up, meaning the temperature is increasing. In the second phase, the temperature was staying constant at about 100 degrees, but it was changing to water vapor. What type of energy is being added? Potential energy was being added during that phase change. Alright, so let's move on to the next concept. Temperature and pressure. Okay, so this one's pretty obvious. High temperature in a gas leads to high pressure in that gas. Because increasing temperature increases kinetic energy. Raising the temperature of a gas in a set container makes those gas molecules hit the side of the container with more force. Why? Look over here. These gas molecules have some kinetic energy. When they hit the side, they will bounce off, applying a force to the side of the container. These gas molecules have more kinetic energy, so when they hit the side of the container, they will exert a greater force. That force outward on the container is called pressure. So, greater force resulting in greater pressure. This is why a balloon expands when it is heated. So I found a YouTube clip that really demonstrates that really well. So this guy is going to put this balloon on top of an Erlenmeyer flask. Let's give him a second. You can hear my baby crying. He's just talking. He's about to put the balloon on there any second now. Alright, and hopefully at some point it'll start heating it up. Oh look, he's heating up it, and as it heats up, it's making the water vapor that is trapped inside of there expand and expands the balloon. Next he's going to take the flask off of there, he's going to put it in some cold water, and the balloon is going to deflate. It's actually going to get pressure that is so low in there that it actually ends up sucking the balloon inside. Crazy. So, what did we learn? High temperature in a gas leads to high pressure. Low temperature in a gas leads to low pressure. All right, so you guys have some practice problems on the back. They're all open-ended questions. I encourage you to work together on them. There's going to be an exit ticket for a grade on Friday that will involve questions from today's lecture.